Hello and welcome, Fish here with another DCS Essentials guide to the F18. In this video we're going to look at the harms, and we're going to look at two of the three modes that are available in the harms. We're going to look at the TOO mode and the pre-brief mode, target of opportunity and pre-brief mode. So we have some targets out in front of us and we're going to configure our aircraft, and the first thing we need to do is start climbing, because we need to be at an altitude, minimum altitude of the Angels 30 to 31, 32 maybe, and this is what I would recommend for launching the harms. We're talking about a distance of between 35 and 40 miles from the target, although in some of the modes it's actually very difficult to get an idea where the target is. So with that in mind, I'm going to start configuring the aircraft, and I'm going to go to air to ground mode, and we can see harms are on the left hand side. I'm going to select them. They're in two stations if we step through them, station 2 and station 8, and we can see them there on our wing. I'm also going to put the SA page on our right DDI. And I'm going to zoom out to 80 miles. And we can see on the SA page, we can see the threat circles coming up for the number of threats that are up ahead of us, and we're going to concentrate on the two that are at our 12 o'clock, and they are an SA2 and an SA6 defending an enemy airbase, and they're quite close together. So we're going to use this and we're going to demonstrate how we can attack both of these targets at the same time. I'm going to switch on our dispenser and our ECM into automatic, and I'm going to put the early warning page down there. So that's the cockpit as I like it for the harm. And we can see we're at Angels 30. I'm going to set our heading bug for 045. And I'm going to level up and go to autopilot mode. Actually, I'll just climb a little bit more. Okay, leveling up now. I'm going to autopilot mode, heading select and parametric altitude. Okay, so let's concentrate on our harm page now. And the first mode we're going to use is the pre-brief mode. And I'm going to select this from push button. You see we've selected already the harm by boxing under push button 6. We're going to go to push button 3 for the pre-brief mode, and you can see there's really not many options on the pre-brief mode. You can see the aircraft is highlighted, and we have an option for pull up, and we have an option for selecting the target type that we're looking at. And I'm going to bring up the selection of target types. Just thumb through these to find them. And we can see them, they're here. So if we look at the ID here, we're looking at the SA2, which is 126, and we're also looking at the SA6, which is 108. So we're going to try and target those two individually. And keep an eye on our range to target now. We don't want to let it fall inside the outer threat circle for the SA2 there. So the way we set these is, and I'm going to set it for the SA2 first of all. I'm going to click on the UFC button, which is push button 14, and then I click the target on the UFC, and I put in for the SA2 is 126. So I'm going to put 126 in, enter. And we can see it's come up now on our harm page. So we're set for station 8. I'm going to swap over to station 2. I always like the lower station to be launched first. And we can switch off that. Now the next one we need to look at is 108. And we are pretty much set up now. the last thing we need to do is then we need to select a target location. So we need to make a target point which is close to where these threats are going to be. So for a portion of its flight, the harms will fly towards that target, and then they're going to search for target with the code that's programmed into them. So let's do that now, and I'm going to go to steer point 1, which is, I know, roughly in the location of that airfield, and I'm going to make that the target point. And as soon as I've done that now, the harm computer has started to calculate how long it's going to be before our target's reach. So I'm going to, and we've also got a bomb fall line, so I'm going to come over to that. And push button 1 and 2 here allow us to decide which we want to use to pull up, whether we want to use the missile to pull up or the aircraft. And obviously the aircraft is the best option, because that you're using the inertia of the aircraft to make the missile fly faster. So we're going to use that for the first one, and then we're going to use the missile for the second one. So I'm going to go into autopilot mode now, and I'm going to hold the pickle button in and pull up hard, and now we have one away. And I'm going to now try and control the aircraft and change target point to 108, and now we've got a launch against us. So I'm going to change this mode to the harm mode, and we can see we nearly have a launch here for the harm. So second one away, and I need to be getting out of dodge. Okay, we're going to have a look at what the missiles are doing now. Okay, we've got a good speed. I think we should be safe. And our first missile now is attacking one of the targets. Now it's the SA-6 that's closest to the coast, and this looks like the SA-2. Okay, that's a hit on the SA-2, and this one is the closest to the coast, so this should be SA-6, which it is. And we've got a hit on that. So that's pretty much how to run the pre-brief mode. Remember, what you need is a target point close to where you expect the targets to be, and you also need to enter in the code into the harm in order to get it to search for that particular threat type. Okay, we're back in the aircraft again, and this time we're going to look at the TOO mode, and I'm going to once again push button 6 on the left DDI on this doors page. I'm going to select the harm, and now we're going to select push button 4 for the TOO mode. And once again, if we step through the missiles, we can see both of them are in TOO mode. Now we can see a difference. Look at the HSI, we can see our threats are still out in front of us in the same way. We're climbing to our target altitude, and I have a full burn on, and you can see the symbology is different. Now we don't have to worry about the steer point. What we're looking at is our harm now is in a mode in which it picks up emissions from ground threats, and it tries to prioritize them. Now we can see we have some here to our right, and they correspond to some of the threats that we can see out to our starboard here on our situational awareness page. So we're concentrating on the one which is in the center, and remember what we've got there. We've got an SA-6 and an SA-2, and this is why the symbology looks a little bit jumbled. It's because the two of them are overlaid on one another. Now in order to hand off to those, in other words, in order to get a particular missile to point at that emission and head in that direction, what I've got to do is I've got to hand it off, and I do that using the on cage button on the HOTAS. And the first thing I need to do is I need to make the harm page the center of interest with the center select switch to the left in my case, and you can see the diamond on the top there tells me it is. And now what we can do is we can press the on cage button and we've handed off. Now we've handed off on the SA2 there, and I'm going to remain on that SA2, and we're going to try and hand off to the SA6 after we've launched. So as I did the last time, I'm going to go into autopilot mode, and I'm going to type in heading. This makes it easier to manage the aircraft while we're doing the harm mechanization. So we've got a handoff on that target out in front of us, and now what the harm missile is going to do is it's going to home into that and fly to it. The problem with this mode is we don't get any information as to the distance we are away from the target, and while the documentation is great at telling us how good the harm is on the standoff range, if we don't have any information about the target, we don't know whether we're getting within the threat range or not. Now, I've got the SA page which is giving us information about the threat, so and I also have a range scale on that screen, so that can help me out. And I've also got steer point 1, I know is roughly in that area, so that's a bit of a cheat, but that gives me information on where the targets are. And if I make that a target mode, we can see we get the target distance on our screen. I'm going to change back from that and make it into a waypoint mode. Actually, I'm going to switch it off because it's not relevant to us. And you can see the symbology on the hood. We can see, and it's been blocked out by some of the information there. We can see harm there. It's not handed off. Now I'm going to hand it off. So we'll hand it off to the 6 this time, and you can see harm is active there. So we can launch at any time. There's nothing blocking us from launching. So we're going to change our scale on here and get a sense of where we are. Yeah, we're just under the 40 mile mark, so I'm going to launch at we're handed off to the SA6, so I'm going to launch at that one. I'm going to hold our position, and I'm going to try and use the reset button here, which is push button 15. And I think we might have got the 2. Yes, we got a handoff for the 2. So we're good now. I'm going to hand off to that 2, and now out of autopilot, and let's get out of Dodge once again. So we've handed off those successfully, and we should be able to watch them now when we turn around. Let's just make sure our aircraft is safe, heading in the right direction. 240 should be good. Level up here, and let's have a look at what's happening now. And hopefully these have enough energy in them to get to where we want to go. Remember, we were at about Angels 30, although our speed was good and high. Okay, we can see land now, and let's see what they're going to do. Remember, the SA6 is nearest the coast, and the SA2 is a little bit further inland. Can't see the other one there, but they are very close to one another by the looks of it. This one looks like it's hitting that shower, so maybe lower. Okay, this one is going for the SA2 and this one is going for the SA6. Now they're probably both going to hit very close to one another. Okay, this is the SA6. Okay, that was a good hit. And this is the SA2. See, the wind is affecting it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the TOO mode. You can see how effective it can be. That was okay, the two targets were close together. You could still do it on targets in different locations, and you could actually do it on 4 separate targets once you can hand off to each of the targets. Remember, what I use the reset button here is to try and reset the priority, the target priority. And if the targets are very close together, you might take a little bit of resetting in order to get the handoff to the particular target that you want. But if there's a good separation with them, it's actually no difficulty to do that. And finally, before I leave this page, there's a classification of the different target types from the class button there, which you can press it. It's a push button 11 there. And if I select all down here, it takes me back to the previous page, and the scan gives a little bit more information. If there are other threats in the area, it'll highlight them here. It's not visible at the moment because our harms are gone from our stations, but you can see that. Now I'll just finish off by having a look at those and what they mean. And again, it's something that you probably should have on your kneeboard. And you can see there, if we want to just, for instance, if we want to just look at the hostile radars, what we do is we would click the hostile button there. And so anything that comes up on the screen is only the hostile radars. So I hope you found this video useful and interesting, and feel free to like, dislike, comment and subscribe. And until the next time, this is Fish Out, and thank you for watching.